All right. What's up, guys? It's gootecks. Welcome to the Untitled Esports Show. I'm here. Unfortunately, we are one esports veteran short this week. I think Slasher might have... I don't know. We can't find him. I'm sure he's out there. I'm sure he'll... whatever. But we got Zorine here.
Hey, everyone. Unfortunately, I am not so easy to be rid of, so I am back. How is everyone going today?
Exactly. Yes.
Let me make up for Slash's absence right now. Poggers in the chat, everyone. Poggers. Yeah, I hate Overwatch League, but I can't stop talking. I hate
Overwatch.
I can't stop tweeting about it.
It's in such a bad spot right now. Yeah.
That's really good, actually.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a talent. You know, what can I say? I tend to. I'm still working on that Australian accent, Zorine, but I promise, you know, at some point I'll be able to do it.
Oh, I'm so ready to hear it.
It's gonna take some practice.
Yeah, that's most Americans find that one hard to get.
It is, dude. It is hard. It's like, oh man, there's so many rules. Anyways, so. You know, we're I don't know. We decided it was better to just like get started, and if Rod shows up, he shows up because he was having internet issues. The other thing, you know, LA traffic is a nightmare, as you guys can imagine if you've ever been to LA. So, anyways, sorry for being late, but we're here. This week's show might be a little bit different because there's seemingly less to talk about, but we still have a bunch of interesting topics.
I mean, you say there's seemingly less to talk about, gootecks, but I think, you know, you're a fighting game person, I'm a fighting game person. We have a bunch of fighting game news happening, so I think we got a lot to talk about, actually.
Okay. You know what? You're right, Zorine. Okay, well...
The most beautiful words in the English language.
Dude! Okay, first off, I said that earlier. But yes, absolutely.
That's what I was referencing, dude.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, hold on. Ah, where'd it go? Sorry, I'm like super rusty. Oh, I didn't set up my scenes properly. Dude, I got so spoiled. Dude, I got so spoiled because Lewis was here.
Our producer.
Yeah.
I'm hearing some sort of voiceover. I'm guessing you pulled up some announcement trailer that we are possibly going to be talking about.
Oh, God, I blew it.
So, how about while you figure that out, I'll go over the topic.
Thank you.
To keep this, you know, excellent ball that we've got rolling. The first topic we have on the agenda, and I think a lot of people in the fighting game community are excited about this. Tekken, or Bandai Namco, has announced the Tekken World Tour for 2019. It's back. They have introduced... Oh, there we go. We've got it up there. They've announced new locations as well as new tier of... We have just like the highest quality production on this show. I hope you're all appreciating this right now.
Sorry.
So
totally my fault.
Tekken World Tour is back, and the prize money has been increased, I believe, to $185,000 for the year. So this is the amount that they're spreading out over 25 to 30 events. It is a slight increase. You know, it's no Street Fighter, let me put it that way, but it is still pretty a nice increase. Is better to have than no increase. Let me just put it that way. And there was some controversy last year in the Tekken final. I mean, the Rangchu who won got like $7,500, and that barely covers like his flight and hotel to the final, just like the final. So, you know, a lot of people were saying as a result of Tekken's kind of smaller prize pool for the tour that it just wasn't financially viable for players or pros to keep on competing in the game. You know, we had pros like Kudans come out and say that they wouldn't be able to keep, you know, competing the way they do. And you know, the assumption was that it was too expensive to keep traveling to events and barely breaking even on them. If you won, like, that's if you won. If you lost, like, you're definitely in the red. And it's not like you can make that all back if you win the finals either, right? So it's nice that Tekken has had an increase in its prize pool for 2019. But that being said, it would be nicer to have more money injected into the scene. I know that's a lot to ask for, but I don't know. Like, what do you think, Ryan, as someone who's coming like from the Street Fighter scene, which arguably is like the tier 1 fighting game esport? I say that word kind of like in quotation marks. Where there's a much larger prize pool at stake. What are your thoughts on what Tekken's got?
I guess first off, I there's a lot there to unpack, right? So I think the biggest thing is I don't always think that the money is not all that matters in this instance, right? Because it can't always be about like, it can't always be about the money. It also has to be about like, what is the real impact of this tournament series? One of the things that I found interesting about this announcement was their introduction of the dojo system, which basically makes it so that any Tekken tournament organizer that has 16 players regularly in it or more can apply to be part of the Tekken World Tour. And of course, there's different levels of points. So, you know, like a smaller local isn't going to get you the same amount of points as like, you know, a major stop or anything. But I think it's a great way to support local, to essentially support your local scene. And it also provides a funnel for players all around the world that are active, that have an active scene, to have a legitimate method of, you know, funneling players into the system. And I think that that's awesome, you know, because not everybody can travel to, like, let's say like with CPT, right, with Capcom Pro Tour, you know, even though there's a bunch of events, there still may not be one in your area. So that requires, you know, the huge investment upfront of travel expenses. So that was the part that I found most exciting. You know, the money, you know, the money is always going to fluctuate, and it sounds like they've reallocated the, you know, the way that the prize money is distributed to be significantly heavier weighted towards, you know, the finals. So it sounds like they did a good job of listening to the feedback from the pro players. So yeah, that's what I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's not about the money, but like gootecks, I just like said, like the final last year when Ranchu won, like he won $7,500.
Oh right, I just
like,
right. Sorry, I'm
like,
when I say it's not just about the money, I'm just talking about like the minor fluctuations in the overall prize money.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like obviously I think it matters, like, you know, these players who put in so much time and effort to the game and then they end up walking away with a break even, like, to me, that doesn't like make the scene any more sustainable, you know, like, and I know a one-off large prize pool is not necessarily going to mean that a scene is more sustainable, but it at least like helps players aim for something long-term, and if they, you know, the winners can kind of walk away with that and use that however they will, but also hopefully, like, you know, lengthens the time that they can spend in that career. So,
well, I think the other thing is that there's not a. It sounds like there weren't a lot, and I don't, you know, like you're a resident Tekken expert, Zorine. Like I don't follow it like super closely. So so please correct me if I'm totally off base, but it doesn't seem like a whole lot of like big esports teams are interested in Tekken players in the same way that a lot of them are attracted to Street Fighter players. Now, part of that, I mean, there's a lot of factors, but I think part of it is you know, maybe those players are harder to market. You know, like for example, I think like if the best players are Korean, right, then I think that would be hard to as like a North American organization. you know?
Right. I mean, but you could argue the same for Street Fighter. Like, the best players are Japanese. Like, if you look at the top 8 for Street Fighter and Capcom Cup last year, like,
Oh, right.
and yet the Street Fighter scene has so many more players signed to professional teams. I think, you know, Tekken, I think a lot of the problem comes from the, like, for the esports scene specifically, it's like, and Bandai Namco, like, as much as I love what they're doing with the game, like, I think they could handle the esports scene a little bit differently, and that, like, promoting a healthy, sustainable scene as well. Like, it's crazy to me that Tekken, which, by the way, is the best-selling fighting game franchise of all time, has, like, all this potential. Like, it's been such a popular game. It has a lot of legacy value, and yet, like, the pro scene feels like it's so much more behind other fighting games, especially when compared to series like Street Fighter. So, like...
Well, they're also a lot further ahead in terms of the amount of years that it's even been going, right? Like, CPT has been... I think the first one was 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Really?
2012 was the first Capcom Cup. Yeah, I mean, right, yeah, it was 2012. Because remember, that was like Daigo versus Infiltration.
Wow.
Remember?
Really? Was that 2012? I need to look this up now.
Yeah, okay. We should know these things. But anyways, that was, I mean, that's a thing, right? Like,
no, it was 2013.
2013. Okay, well, either way, so this is year 3 for Tekken World Tour, right? So, like, Capcom has had a few more tries at it. But I think the real issue is that, because essentially what I feel like you're hinting at is like, oh, you know, the scene should be better supported by Bandai Namco because they're the best, because the sales are through the roof.
I mean, I wasn't necessarily linking it to that, but I think it's more like there's a missed opportunity when you have such a large, like, player base to work with, and, like, you know, bring it to a competitive, like, healthy competitive.
Well, here's the thing,
place.
Like, I feel like these companies, I mean, I might be, just from my observation, right, as a esports FGC veteran, right, you know, my impression of these companies, specifically like Japanese fighting game developers, you know, like, they're good at making fighting games, but, you know, the way that Riot has built LCS, Blizzard builds Overwatch League, you know, these companies have like a much different core competency than both Capcom and Bandai Namco. You know what I mean? Like, they have the sort of resources and the vision because they've been doing it longer. I mean, everybody has to remember that, like, until they realize or understand, or just listen to me and do what I say, and understand how to turn their pro leagues of all kinds into revenue generators instead of marketing expenses, they're still just always going to be like, well, we're already putting all this money in, like, what more do you want? But once it has gotten to the level where they figure out how to make money through not just game sales, but, you know, I mean, obviously, like, there's so many different, you know, ways to make money with this, and they're just sort of like inching their way along, it seems.
Right, and, like, you know, there's like you said, there's a lot to unpack, and I think a lot of it also, like you mentioned, you know, esports is this whole new beast, and, you know, you don't necessarily have the people qualified to monetize it or know how to monetize it. I think someone in chat mentioned, Isaac Locke also mentioned that, you know, in Japan, the gambling laws have made it difficult for esports.
Oh, right.
Like,
that's one of the other reasons why Japan is so far behind.
To really move forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very important. And so now that, let's say, the laws and the culture are starting to catch up, they have some catching up to do, but it's still going to take some time. And so that's why I think, you know, that's why the local, like, the dojo part of the system was, like, so exciting, because that's, you know, definitely not one of the things that Capcom is yet doing, you know. But, you know, everybody's just sort of trying to figure it out as they go.
Absolutely, and I know it's easy for us to kind of like sit back and think like, oh, they should do this, they should do that, or we could do a better job than them. Like, it's not. I'm sure it's not that easy, and I acknowledge that. But at the same time, there's a lot of missed opportunities that I think
for sure
could be put in place. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, well, this is why it's a fighting game community and not just the marketing budget for one developer's product, because I mean, this is the charm of FGC. I don't know, like maybe someday everything will be super esports and everybody will live happily ever after. I don't know,
like I think that kind of stuff, I mean, like to me it's exciting because there's a lot of change happening and a lot of cool new opportunities. And I know like esports is kind of like the thing that a lot of people hate or reject, but I, for one, embrace it. So, you heard it here. You heard it here first, folks. If it means more opportunities for everyone, I am
embrace esports, dude.
Yes.
Zorine, Zorine,
I'm serious.
I know you are. That's why it's funny to me. To me, that's why it's funny. Just because when me and Mike shot, when me, Mike, and Steve shot the original esports video, that was just a commercial for these T-shirts. Like that was literally the domain name was Embrace Esports.
Oh my god, is that what?
Yeah. Check the tapes. That's
out there somewhere.
Oh my god. Yeah. Embrace Esports .cash.
.cash? Was it really .cash?
Fuck yeah, it was .cash.
Oh, that is amazing. Wait, is that so? What's there now? What happens if I go to Embrace Esports .cash right now? What will come up?
I don't know. It's a great question.
Hey, oh my god, it's still there. It's still alive.
There you
go.
It's
a picture of Mike Ross.
There you go.
The future is in your hands. Oh, it's a picture of you as well. Future you. Embrace Esports. Beautiful. That's amazing. That's something. So, speaking of embracing esports, did you catch the Street Fighter on NBC thing? Apparently it was this weekend. I tried to watch, but I actually realized I don't have cable or normal television, so I was not able to.
I was not around when it happened, and I don't know where to watch it. So I don't think anybody here DVR'd it. But my parents, no, actually, my mom messaged me and was like, "Hey, like we watched it," and they DVR'd it for me.
That's how you know.
Shout outs to my mom and dad. Yeah.
On mainstream, when your mom messages you was like, "Hey, I saw the Street Fighters on the television."
No, that's
something you like, right? Well, I recorded it for you just in case you wanted to watch it. Come visit soon.
Well, I mean, my mom's pretty with it, but yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Shout outs to my mom and dad for recording it for me. I'm going to be in LA next weekend, so I'm going to stop by and then I'll watch it. So the weekend after, I'll have like a full report of how it was.
Can't.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be in LA for my birthday. So hopefully you're free. You can make it out. Shout outs to the other LA.
Talk about this not on the live show.
Oh, whatever. I mean, I'm not telling them where to go. I'm just telling you what's going on. Shout outs to the other LA friends and homies. Hopefully they can make it.
Yes, I'll be there. Okay,
yeah.
Dude, I'll 100%.
Talking to you, Linda, Jesse.
Oh,
everybody.
Okay. Amazing. Cool. All right. Well, yes. I guess we'll talk about next. We'll talk about what your thoughts were on that. I'm curious how the production was, what kind of ads they ran in between, all that kind of stuff. What their overall tournament.
I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what I did watch, and that was it was an Instagram ad that basically, I think it was Samurai that reposted it. So the ad was basically, it was called like Esports. God, the way that it was cut made it look like this was the first episode of a series that was going to be about esports scenes, like different types of esports scenes, not just like Street Fighter. So this,
Wait, what do you mean, like a behind the scenes look? I thought this was just straight up a tournament that they were playing, like a exhibition match or something.
Yeah, it was. What I'm saying is that this was the way that the commercial was made it seem like this was just the first episode of a whole series. But the whole series was like esports as a whole. So that's why I'm saying that it seems like this first episode was just like the Street Fighter one, and the next episode will be something different. But that's, I mean, this is just, I mean, this could be huge misinformation too. Fact check me.
You gotta hear it first, everyone. Fact check gootecks.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. Look at Jointer3 says the NBC broadcast was only shown in those locations. Oh, interesting.
LA area and Bay Area. That makes sense, because that's kind of how NBC works for its sports stuff, right? Like they have localized.
That's a great. You know what? I feel we're gonna, if we don't already know these things, we're gonna learn. We're gonna figure it out. That makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, I don't know much about sports content licensing, but I imagine that's kind of like, you know, very vaguely how it works.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'll report back with findings.
Great. Can't wait.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What else? Do you want to talk about, let's talk about your project.
Sure, I'm down to talk about it.
All right, yeah. I mean, because, like, I don't really, I mean, does this stuff really matter? BMW, Konami, Esports Tower.
Oh my god, yes. What do you mean does it really matter? Wow. You are so anti-esports that you don't care about these big brands coming into, like, the scene at all?
What? Like
BMW?
I mean, they're coming in all the time.
Well,
but what is that? Okay, all right. Here's how I care about that. Tell me how does that benefit you, or tell me how that benefits me, or tell me what we can do, like, let's say between me, you, Rod, Lewis, XSplit, the people watching. Tell us what we can do collectively about that. Because, like, you know, when it comes to, you know, Tekken World Tour, Street Fighter stuff, you know, like, this is stuff that, you know, we're, like, involved in. Mm-hmm. Esports stuff, you know, sometimes we're involved in. But these types of deals, like, we're not.
Of course we're not. We're not supposed to be involved with them. I'm just saying, like, this is big picture stuff. And that, to me, like, this stuff excites me because it showed, like, for one, it confirms to me that esports is moving in a direction that's similar to traditional sports, in that, you know, traditional sports when it first started out was like a couple of people just, like, I don't know, kicking ball around or swinging a bat or like throwing a racket around or something, right? And, like, there was one point in time where when that first started, people were like, why would you watch people playing sports, or why would you do this? And then, like, you know, fast forward to the way it is now, and there's, like, so much, like, the economy for it is so big. There's a lot of major brands that are involved, and I think having more major brands involved injects more money into the economy, which benefits everyone ultimately. Like, it's growing the scene.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does. It theoretically it does grow the scene. Yes. Okay. All right.
I don't understand how you could just dismiss it so easily. Like you, of all people, gootecks, should understand why it's important for, like, sponsors to get involved.
For sure, I understand why it's important to have sponsors get involved. And now that I think about it, I think herein lies the opportunity. For me, not for me, but, like, here is the opportunity for somebody. Here's the opportunity for somebody. How about that? Let me actually show people what we're talking about. Then it'll make sense. Okay, yes. Esports Observer is reporting BMW signs with Cloud9 for the first team sponsorship deal. I'm sure they got AT&T. Jesus.
Wow, that's impressive.
Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, all right. It's their first team sponsorship. Sweet, good work. Character drives performance. I'm sure it's a great car. Great, awesome. Here's what somebody can do to make the best of it. I see what it is now. I have to be the person who tells people how they might be able to take advantage of this, because I can only assume that the people that listen to this show are people who are at least either involved in esports directly or are paying attention to the space for some reason from like a brand or some sort of, I don't know, different perspective. So the move here is for somebody to go to Audi or Porsche or maybe Lexus. I don't know. I'm not a car guy, but somebody in a competing car class and be like, hey, look at what BMW is doing. We could do the same thing for you. Because, yeah, because, I mean, especially, because think about, like, don't they also do, like, car races, too? Like, people probably, like, race these cars. They probably work with different car racing or car companies, sponsor different car events, right? So, in that instance, right, like, winning matters, doesn't it? So, let's say, for example, if Cloud9, okay, let's say, for example, that Cloud9 won, this season's LCS, right? Because, through whatever that happens, right? So now the BMW sponsorship like totally pays off. Like we did it, guys, right? Now, at the next race that they're both at, like Audi and BMW, they're just like, yeah, bro, like our team's the best. What do you got?
I don't understand the point you're trying to make with this.
The point is that like the opportunity therein, like now that we've seen, let's say Honda partner up with Liquid, and now BMW partner up with Cloud9. Now it's like this opens the gate for other car manufacturers of varying classes to get involved, and the best way to do that, what I'm suggesting, is by showing competitors, showing their competitors what these guys are doing in this space. Right. Yes.
Yeah, and that's like
to try to jumpstart their own sponsorship deal with Kia or Toyota or whoever.
Right, and like, more non-endemics getting into the scene equals more opportunities, which I think is important.
Well, the other thing is like they're gonna have to, especially when they're non-endemics, like they're gonna have to see some sort of like real tangible return, which is part of which is one of the many things holding back the entire thing. Because it's like they can put all this money into a team and the performance or whatever, but ultimately, how does that translate to more sales? Which tells me that when a marketing budget gets cut, everything's great when things are on the up and up and the company's making money, but like what happens when there's some unforeseen circumstances? Budgets get cut, like something like this that does, to me, stuff that doesn't have like very tangible ROI. I mean, especially with what you can get with internet advertising, pay-per-click and everything, it's like, dude, like that type of stuff, like brand awareness, exposure type of stuff is the first thing to get cut. In my opinion, because like that's just, especially for a non-endemic.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is definitely something to keep in mind as we talk about this kind of stuff. as well. I saw Dust mention in the chat that, Subaru hosted a small CSGO tournament as well last year. So that was kind of, was it last year or the year before? But they also kind of like, we're seeing more car manufacturers kind of like make their way into the space.
I mean, it makes, to me, it makes perfect sense. And this is why when people would say so long ago that fighting games could never have like any sort of sponsorship outside of FGC, I'm just like, nah, you don't understand, because you're not targeting the demographic. What is this demographic? It's like, all right, well, BMW is looking for obviously like high income people. Target esports because these are probably, these are like millennials, mostly male, that are in college or have graduated from college. These are the types of people that can buy our cars. And of course, the next step, right, is your local, what is it called? Your local cash loans, payday advance loans. So that way, that's how we made it. When we got the U.S. Army recruiting, we got to sell you, and then payday loans to sell you cars that you can't afford once you get out. Once you get out of the Army. Oh my god. Oh god, that's terrible. Oh my god. But hey,
that is actually terrible.
Well, hey, well, here's the thing, like, don't act like it's any different from like what's already happening, right? Like, this is nothing new. That, to me, that's like a real indicator that you made it, right? Is that, yeah. Yeah, the military's getting in, and so are payday loans. I'm waiting for that. See, that's the next step, right? Like, now on the Tekken World Tour, on the dojo circuit, a lot of these tournaments are going to be sponsored by the local payday loan companies. Sharky players telling them to take out a payday loan so that they can go to whatever, like, so they can go to the next major and win Tekken. Oh god,
that's awful.
Well, it's coming. It's coming.
God. Take a loan to attend the next major. God, gamble on a win, basically.
Yep. But yeah. All this stuff. I think that's, for me, that's the takeaway. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Well, good for them. Congrats to Cloud9.
I like how we went from like BMW sponsoring Cloud9 signs the deal all the way to
the military is recruiting, and people want to give you loans.
Take loans to attend majors so that they can win their money back and potentially pay off these loans and whatever other debts that they have.
I'm just saying that's going to be used in some sort of commercial script that is read somewhere. Oh my god. Anyways,
amazing.
I'm quite entertained.
Hopefully, so all the people watching this or listening to this show. So,
well, hey, you know what? You gotta make yourself laugh before you can make anybody else laugh. That's for sure. All right. All right. Let's talk about this thing. What
Wait, my project?
Yes. I mean, either that or the Konami thing.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm happy to talk about this project. So, you might have seen that I announced this on Twitter, or Travis Gafford, who is most known for being prominent in the League of Legends scene, announced it as well last Friday, that we are collaborating on a video series in which I am interviewing and highlighting women executives in esports. So we are in the process of filming and editing that together now. It should come out soon on his YouTube channel, and I think it's I'm pretty excited to use the opportunity to highlight the fact that there are more women executives responsible for the events that we watch and enjoy in esports, or are involved in esports at whether it be through teams or organizations or through platforms or any other kind of different avenue that are responsible for making, you know, all the things that we love and enjoy in esports possible. So very excited about that, and hopefully everyone else here is too. So
cool. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, so who can you give us the scoop on who you have lined up?
Yeah, so we've shooting a couple of interviews. There'll be around 4 to 5 episodes available, and each episode would feature one person. There are, you know, people ranging from like CEOs to VPs. I guess, you know, if I wanted to drop some examples, like,
I mean, is this a secret?
I don't think it's so much a secret. I guess, you know, I kind of wanted to save it as a surprise. For
okay.
It's cool. So the CEO of ESL North America, I'm interviewing her, or I interviewed her already. For the fighting game side, I'm actually interviewing the CEO of UIU, Jinhee An Kim. So people who are into fighting games would be very familiar with UIU. So she's got a really, really fascinating story, and like they've all got amazing stories on how they ended up where they are today. So I'm very, very excited to highlight that and kind of like share their experiences and show that, you know, there are different paths to working in esports.
Not just trying to be a pro player. Yeah.
That's right. Way more than just trying to be a pro player.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool. I mean, are you imagining that this is going to try to, you know, reach like women that are like in high school or college and stuff?
I think it's actually kind of relevant to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like they all like, you know, the interview, the stuff that we've shot already, like super inspiring, you know, like they have great advice and definitely like really great insights to people who are either starting in their careers or thinking of making a career switch.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, and they're all like really smart, intelligent people as well, and have a lot of experience that we can all learn from. So I don't think it's not, you know, like I don't want it to be like we're women, everyone's a woman, like, you know, like I don't want it to be like too focused on like that specifically, and that's not really what I'm about. So, you know, I'm kind of, it's a careful line to tread, but I do want people to watch it and feel like they can come away with something that they've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. It is tough to walk that line, but at the same time, I mean, you know, whatever, it's super topical, super relevant, you know, and you know, it's something that it's good to have, you know, some focus put on, some shine put onto it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you saw the Twitter thread that was happening like last week or the week before, but Mama Dao from Capcom, like she tweeted. And I'm not like putting her on blast for this or anything at all. Like I really admire her work, and she's amazing for the stuff she does in the fighting game community. But she so she tweeted out like, oh, does anyone want to, like, who would be interested in a women in the FGC panel at Evo? Because this was when Evo had opened up, you know, the opportunity for people to submit panels and applications for a panel. And, you know, my response to that was like, I think it's like nice to do something like this, but at the same time, I would prefer for, you know, female players or women identifying players to be like on panels like throughout Evo, not just like on like a women in FGC panel. And I prefer, and this is just me, like I don't speak for all women, obviously. This is just me as a player. I just prefer to be treated like anyone else, you know, like, yeah, let's talk about experiences in like, oh, like, you know, talking about grinding for a game or how you practice or like how you deal with tournament nerves, stuff like that. Like that to me, I would prefer that approach. But, you know, some people came back and replied and were like, oh, why don't we have both? Why not both? So that's totally a valid answer too.
Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. I mean, that's what I was going to say. To me, it's not really like an either or type of thing. Yeah. And yeah, I'm totally right there with you that when you put a huge emphasis on like, oh, like this is like a women thing, and it I don't know, it's a fine line, you know.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it is because you have been involved for so long that it's like you totally know, you've experienced all of the things. So, you know, as an experienced veteran, you know, you have a veteran's mindset of like, hey, you know, whatever, just treat me as a person. It's not a girl thing.
Right.
But there's a lot of, I understand the other side too, of like, oh, you know, like, you know, we all want to like stick together.
Right.
And I don't think that it's not like an either or scenario. And there's no reason why everything can't coexist. But it is tricky.
Very tricky. Now let's wait for someone to clip all this out of context and put us on blast on the internet.
I mean, outrage culture is such a thing, and you know, people feel like they're making a difference by telling other people what they should and shouldn't say on the internet, and that's fine. It's a big internet. It's a big internet.
That it is.
But yeah, it's cool. So when I guess we went down that rabbit hole pretty deep. When is it? What's the status of it? When can people see it?
I think we're aiming for a release date about a month from now. So, and it'll be on, you know, Travis Gafford's YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Travis.
Travis.
Thanks,
actually,
Travis.
Yeah, Travis actually one of the guys that we were all working with early on in the prehistoric esports days over at GameSpot.
Back in the day. Back in the day.
But yeah, that's cool. So it'll be on his channel in the past. Yeah. Would you say 4 or 5 episodes?
Yeah, around 4 to 5 episodes.
Cool. Yeah, well, keep us updated, and
Will do. Thank you.
And then, yeah, we can like run. I don't know, we can like run some clips on here or something. We could do these things, huh?
It'll be my face.
Oh yeah. We'll just cut out your guests.
Like,
the world premiere. The world premiere of Zorine's Women in Esports project, and it's just like cut. It's just like 2 minutes of just you talking to yourself.
The joke being that I'm the only woman in esports, or
yes. The first, yeah, Zorine is the first lady of esports, and apparently the only one. They couldn't get anybody for these.
We couldn't get any other.
We couldn't get any other women in esports. It's literally just Zorine.
Oh my god!
Congratulations.
All right,
oh
that's why we need Rod around to like stop us from going off on tangents like this. But
you guys.
But
what about Overwatch?
we do have a lighter like slate of topics today, so I think we can, you know, take more questions from the chat. But someone did ask. I don't think Macius1236. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Macius has asked. I don't think esports should be divided in an all-women's league like we see in most sports. What are your thoughts? I agree. I don't think women's leagues necessarily like divide. It's very hard to kind of like say this. I think, you know, for the most part, I think the goal of women's leagues existing is to give women a platform to compete in where they can feel, you know, safe, or like, you know, where they don't have to deal with harassment or feel less pressured. You know, like it's more about giving them like a platform and highlighting them on that platform and showing like, hey, you know, here's an example of women who compete, and maybe a very young woman who plays video games or young girl playing video games sees that and actually is able to see someone like her playing games on this platform and competing, and that in turn gives them something to aspire to, you know, because otherwise I think in the competitive scene, it's just so male dominated right now that it's almost kind of like this never ending cycle. If it continues to be male dominated and a young, you know, gamer who was a girl watches these things and then becomes discouraged. I know that when I was a young girl, I was very much discouraged from playing video games because, you know, my parents discouraged me from it. My mom would always use an example like, do you see any other girls playing games? And I'll be like, no, mom, it's only all the boys in school. Ooh. And like that would discourage me from playing video games. Like that almost made me feel ashamed to play video games. So I think having a platform that shows, you know, potential young women, the next generation of gamers that, hey, like there are people like them out there, I think that's a powerful thing. So that I think is a great advantage to having a women's tournament or a women's league.
Well said.
What you said, Zorine, you're right. But you know, there are other problems to consider as well, right? Like people say it's not fair that women can compete in like women's only leagues as well as like, you know, the normal like mixed gender leagues, right? But you know, it's hard. Like we need to build at least some sort of like thing to point to for other gamers who are like in the next generation kind of learning about this.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, you know, because all of this is so new. Not a lot of thought has been put towards cultivating the next generation. But the reality is that no matter what your game or your scene, the next generation, if you don't prepare them, it's just going to die out with you. So having a myriad of people, you know, on, you know, whatever, on streams or in events as, you know, pro gamers or whatever, you know, that would be, it'd be great for, you know, little girls everywhere. And, you know, I can see how that would be discouraging when you know, when you were a kid. And yeah, I mean, I can see why you would want to push in that direction, you know, so that other, you know, other little girls didn't have to, could at least be like, no, mom, look. I told you. I told you, mom. I mean, I didn't have that either, you know. I when I was a kid, like I couldn't have a console. Like my parents were like, no, like that's crazy. You'll get addicted. My mom was like, video games are bad for your eyes. You know, you're gonna throw your life away. You know, all kinds of like crazy. You know.
Did she eat her words now? I mean, like you're basically making a career out of, you know, your passion for video games, and that led you to such a different pathway versus if you hadn't.
Well, so I mean, this is how I got to play with, you know, why I started playing fighting games in, you know, in the first place, right? Because since I couldn't have a console at home, then I could only play in the arcades, which meant that if I wanted to be good, then I needed to, I needed to like figure out how to get good, which was a struggle, but I mean, which has turned into a lifelong struggle that all stems from, you know, me not being able to have a console at home, because who knows, maybe I would have gotten bored of games, or maybe I would have grown out of it or something. But now it's like, that's why you got to be really careful with what you're showing your kids and what you're telling them to do and not to do. I think I'm like a prime example. Like, is it like, oh, you know, is she like eating her words now? Probably not. But, you know, I think that luckily I'm super fortunate to have them be so supportive, so that I never had to deal with a lot of the things that I think other people in gaming or esports, you know, have to deal with, where their parents are like, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, this is not a career.
Oh man.
But you know, like that's part of why I'm trying to do more stuff, you know, to cultivate the next generation, to, you know, work with, to try to figure out how to work with, you know, young people, with you know, colleges, high schools, whatever, because, you know, I really do believe, you know, like I was lucky enough as a kid to have you know, played in Little League and done you know, played basketball, you know, organized basketball and stuff, and like, so I understand the value of, you know, like team sports and whatnot, and I can see how this modern generation, you know, kids today and future generations, it's not going to be about baseball and basketball. It's going to be about whatever esports game happens to be hot. And there's a lot that young people specifically can learn from it, you know, in terms of like consistency and practice and whatnot. And I think that's one of the things that's one of the things that I see sort of changing slowly. Like, you know, when we talk about like women's leagues and stuff, I think that, you know, for kids that are, you know, like let's say in elementary school and like not even junior high, you know, like all those kids are gonna grow up where I'm sure there were lots of little girls that were like just as good, if not better, than, you know, what they were playing with, you know, the other little boys. So I think that this is one of the things that's just going to happen naturally on its own. At first, it's going to be a big deal, like, oh, this is the first like female esports player on an Overwatch team, but it's literally just a matter of time before the next generation just catches up, because they have grown up with it and it's like totally normal. Because there's obviously, I mean, it goes without saying, right? There's literally no physical reason why there should be any sort of separation between men and women or anybody in when it comes to esports, because, you know, there's not like a physical strength. There's a physical component, but it's not a strength-based component. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think, you know, man, I mean, I don't know about you, but people will send me photos of like, you know, their kids playing, you know, really small, like toddlers, you know, with the fight sticks and the controllers playing Street Fighter. That's like, all right, cool. Like, now we got to start making videos for 6-year-olds. You're like, okay, cool. Got it. No problem. Because, yeah, I mean, you know, so because like, if you could show the kids how this can solve so many of life's problems and get them far, I think that there's some value in that, you know. Hopefully.
I don't know how video games can help solve life problems, but
maybe you just didn't get that deep into Tekken, Zorine.
Ooh, ouch. I am gonna play the shit out of Tekken now, just to, you know, show you up. So
okay, well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like all we need is you just need a Tekken dojo event near you in Southern California. Maybe I think there might be one called Wednesday Night Fights. It's a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, gootecks, you know as well as I do how far that is.
And I also know that when I was competing and when I was hungry to be the best, I was driving from Cal Poly Pomona out to Granada Hills to Family Fun Arcade, which was like 75-minute drive easily, hour and a half. Yeah, every week, Zorine. You know why? The hunger.
I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, see?
You kids don't know how good you have with your online play and all that jazz.
I mean, not just that. I'm just talking about the level of commitment that it takes, and in order to excel at a competitive endeavor, of any competitive endeavor. And I believe that there is immense value for young people to learn that from an early age, in the same way that, you know, people will be like, oh, team sports, like ball sports, football, whatever, baseball, football, basketball, like these sports are like healthy activities for young people. And I mean, I see gaming in the same way. I saw this article the other day on Medium about how, like, you know, why is it that Fortnite is treated as like video games are treated like a waste of time. But if you were to tell your parents that you were joining the chess team or the chess club, everybody would be excited, you know. And like the author's like making the case like, well, what separates like Fortnite from chess? It's just like, you know, you require a lot of the same sort of skill sets, you know, that you would learn from being on the chess team. You know, you can learn through gaming, through esports.
I mean, let's be real. I think the perception of chess is like an intellectual's game, and Fortnite is a game where you shoot things and pew pew guns and occasionally build things.
And that's
like Minecraft.
Right, and that's like the perception that is going to take a generation or two to change.
Right. Absolutely.
Because,
we're getting there.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a process, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, as we have found out. I mean, you know, you've been in the game for a hot minute, Zorine. Major way up. I mean, see, esports worked for you. You should interview yourself on your own show. So Zorine, how did you make it out of Australia? Well, Zorine,
the year was 2014.
Was it really?
Esports. No, I moved here in 2016, so, but I'm just, you know.
No, but you first started coming here way before that.
Like in 2012, 2013.
Yeah. Because that's how I met you, right?
Yeah,
you were out here for GameStop.
The first time GameSpot. The first time I ever came to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Ever.
Right. Yeah. You were here for E3, and you were like, "Hey."
Actually, I want to tell the story because I don't think people appreciate.
Sure.
People don't appreciate Gootex's ability to get into parties. Like any party, no matter how exclusive, Gootex will get into it. So,
Thank you.
I'm at E3, and this is when I was working for GameSpot, not to be confused with the retail store GameStop. This is GameSpot, one of the biggest dedicated video game websites in the world. And we were wrapping our E3 show, and what they had booked for us was like this little like dive bar, and it was
Tony's Saloon,
for
Arts
GameSpot
District
editorial staff who had worked so hard throughout all of E3, and this was kind of like their reward. Like there's like a little like a wrap party for all those, you know, all those writers, all the editors, all the video people who worked really hard throughout the show, and they organized like this little dive bar. They put on like a little party for us. It's really cute. And I'm about to go in, and my colleague, my teammate, Evan Tran, walks up to me, and he's like, "Dude, fucking Gootex is here." And I was like, what? Like, firstly, I couldn't like process. I was like, Gootex, like he can't possibly mean like Gootex from like Cross Counter, like the Street Fighter guy. And he was like, yeah, he's at the bar right now. So we go in, like the bouncer checks our names off this list. So it was like a party where you had to be on a list. The bouncer checks our names off the list. We go in, and I walk in, and Ryan is sitting there at the bar by himself. And I walk up to him like, "Are you Gootex?" I just have no idea how you crashed our internal staff rap party, which was not even advertised like anywhere at all. It was amazing.
Thank you. Hey, what can I say? You know. You guys were in my hood. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Death by Poke7 says Gootex is always on the list. I don't know.
I just don't even, like, did you even do anything with us that E3? I don't remember.
I tried my damnedest, Zorine, to do all the fighting game stuff for GameSpot and for you know what it was? It was because remember, like, Rod got in there first.
No, Rod wasn't at this party.
No. I just mean into GameStop. GameSpot. Right. Rod got into GameSpot first. I think you were already in there, but Rod was my way in, and so that's how I met Benito. And then, yeah, that guy. Shout out to that guy. That guy's cool as fuck. He must have. he must have put me on the list or something. Or I also could have just walked in too. Who knows?
I think when I asked you how you got in, you said something like, "Oh yeah, like you told the you told the party organizer you were supposed to be there," and she was just like, "Oh yeah, cool," and like she like got the bouncer to let you in or something.
Also, that happens too sometimes. I don't know. Well, sometimes I'm just in the right place at the right time. I just,
Fantastic.
you know, these things happen. What can I say? But yeah, and I mean, you know, now after that, you were so inspired.
Oh my god.
To be like, oh, look, I need to get up out the struggle now.
Jesus Christ.
And a year later, you're living in the States. Esports works. Esports works for another one. Congratulations.
Let this be an inspiration to all watching on this stream. You can make your dreams happen.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Ask Zorine. on her new show where she interviews herself.
Where I interview myself. Next up, my favorite guest that we've ever had on this show, me.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, when you're... the thing about getting ahead in any industry, whether it's esports or anything else, lots of times comes from the social element of, you know, going to parties and mixers and the after thing and the after thing. And, you know, it's just once you learn how all that stuff works, it's a lot easier to like navigate the situation, know who to talk to, understand how, you know, whether it's something that actually is, you know, really exclusive, or whether it's something that like, you know, you could go to if you just look like somebody who was supposed to be there.
No, Ryan, we can't sell them that narrative. It has to be you work really hard and then the things will fall into place as you work really hard.
Yes, absolutely. Like, success is where luck meets opportunity. Wait.
Right.
I feel like I'm butchering that.
You're missing something.
I'm missing something.
It's not just
luck is where preparation meets opportunity. Something like that. Anyways, you get what I mean.
Yeah, we're
getting... But the thing is, like, if I hadn't put in so much work, I wouldn't be able to be put into the situations where I can get lucky like that,
I mean, same. Like, I think a lot of people are. Kind of
so, you know, but also like navigating this stuff takes, you know, experience and a certain level of
finesse.
What?
I'm just
exactly.
Like you just described what you did just then, like that way.
How would you describe it? As me getting lucky?
Not so much. I mean, like, yeah, lucky, definitely lucky. A little bit of, you know, a little bit of twisting the narrative to your favor. So.
That's what we do here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, when you look at, I've been listening to the Steve Jobs biography as an audiobook, and you know it talks throughout the book about Steve Jobs' ability to they call it the reality distortion field. And so when he was, you know, there with you, he could basically like Jedi mind trick you into, you know, seeing the world his way. And I'm like, man, I gotta work on that.
Yeah, that's definitely a skill.
Try to cultivate that. That is one of my unique. That and being a fucking FGC fortune teller is one of my unique skills. This is my crystal ball.
Oh man. So I feel like we have really gone off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I hope that was entertaining, at least to some people out there. I will be happy if we entertained at least 2 people.
Well, I was entertained, so that's
one
half the battle. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the next literal big deal in Tokyo Esports is the Konami massive esports tower.
Yeah, well, topical. We were just talking about Japan and catching up, and so there you go.
12-story building. Are there any
That's
photos?
a lot of stories. I mean,
That's
it's not been built yet.
Oh, here
Oh,
we
you
go.
mean like renders?
Construction on the tower is set to wrap up in November, which, as
Oh,
Kyoto observes, will be in time for the Tokyo Olympic Games in 2020. So that tells me that this is going to be a place, wow, multifunctional esports center.
yeah. I wonder if that means they will be renting it out to other games to host their leagues there. Because what is in Konami's portfolio that could be classified as potentially esports ready, right? There's the
Ooh.
Pro Evo Soccer, and is that it? Like, do they have anything else?
You know what? I really have no idea, but this tells me that maybe they have something up their sleeves, or maybe
that's
they
true.
just have so much Metal Gear money that they wanted to invest wisely in tangible assets, aka real estate versus exposure.
Ooh, yes, that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah, because when you think about it, right, this is part of why I feel like the Allied Esports Arena World Poker Tour deal is so interesting, because like you don't really see a lot of large real estate plays in esports yet, but I think that what they're doing, as well as what Konami is doing, a 20-story esports tower. I mean, it sounds pretty epic. Sounds like you could do a lot of esports there all the time. Probably even more esports than any one entity could execute. So you might have different stuff going on there all the time. I mean, obviously, if you're going to build something like that, I mean, they're looking towards the future, because this building seems like it's going to be up for a long time.
12 stories. I wonder if eventually we'll see like, Evo or fighting game stuff there.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that they're going to need to fill it with something, that because that seems to be the model right now. Like, buy the real estate, have the venues, and then have rent out the venues to different publishers or leagues or whatever to host their big events, because it's definitely not to the level yet where, well, sorry, it's only to that level with Blizzard and Overwatch League, right, where they have like their own local venues that are hosting their games and stuff.
And
but that's still only like Overwatch stuff.
right, Riot Games and League of Legends as well.
They have their own.
Yeah, it's like their studio. They built the studio. They were pretty much like the first publisher to
Right,
do that.
right. But what I'm saying is like, you can't have like, there's different sort of tiers of venues, right? Like, you have like the Staples Center, but then you also have, like the Wiltern, so
Right.
not everybody, very few people even have, I mean, Riot doesn't have anything like that, like they don't have their own like.
Right. I mean, but like their space is very similar to Blizzard's Overwatch League space. I think it's like one has like 100 more capacity than the other. So they're very, very they're very close to each other. Let me put it that way.
Right, but what I'm saying is like there exists like another echelon, and so if you
right.
yeah. So, and the other thing is like those are the only two that even have those studios, that even have those facilities, and they're at the top of the top, right? So these guys must be thinking, they, who knows, maybe they even had some like government assistance on like, I don't know, where to put it and like the funding and all these things. Who knows? Do you think that obviously it's not a coincidence that it's going to go up, that'll be in time for the Olympics, right? I mean,
That's true, actually. I mean, they've obviously, if it's finishing in November, they must have been constructing or planning this for at least some time. But if you were asking me whether I think the Olympics will have some sort of esports component, like linked to it, I think there's a very high chance that there will be. Yes.
yeah, I think so too.
We saw South Korea do it with the Winter Olympics in, where was it again? I want to say Pyeongchang, but they had some esports kind of stuff as well happen there and highlighted. So it's very, very likely I mean, Mario was their mascot for announcing the 2020 Olympics. So, like, they obviously are very in tune with like gaming in general. Esports is kind of only a step away from that.
I wonder if that convergence is part of what is changing the culture and the regulation out there.
Absolutely.
Because the Olympics is such a ginormous moneymaker, a ginormous endeavor, boost to the city's visibility, economy, everything. But I've also seen a lot of the have you seen those Vice videos about like the Russian Olympics and all the crazy things that went on with that and how corrupt the whole thing was?
No, but I have heard some talk and discussions around that. So
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but yes.
I'm not an expert either, but you know, it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. And that definitely grows the esports economy ecosystem.
Oh, well, fingers crossed. Curious to see what Konami end up doing with the space, and if they end up doing anything with esports for the Olympics as well. So
Yeah. Yep, we'll see what happens. Damn, I guess yeah. Slasher literally was just off the map.
Poggers for Slasher, everyone.
Wow.
That's what he would have wanted.
That's what he would have wanted for sure. All right.
Do we want to talk about our final topic?
Sure.
Take it away, Ryan. It's all you.
What? No, it's definitely.
No, this is. Wait, are we looking at the same thing? Hang on.
Maybe not. No, I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are. This is all you. What do you mean? You want me to talk about it?
All right, yeah. For those of you watching this, I don't even see why anybody who was watching this that didn't already know would even care, because they wouldn't even understand the context. But I sent out an email to a lot of our Excellent Adventures subscribers that the Excellent Adventures of gootecks and Mike Ross is coming to an end, and the show is done. And we had a really good run, and it was fun, and I think we got more out of it than anybody. We put more in and got more out than any of us could have ever imagined. So it was a good run, but yeah, it's time to go.
All good things must come to an end eventually.
Yeah. Yep, sad times. But just because that show is done doesn't mean that the whole thing is done. So just going to continue on creating content like this stuff, doing the Content Collective podcast, which is a podcast for content creators, as well as, of course, fighting game content. But yeah, it's just not going to be like that. It's not going to be that show anymore. But I was on definitely got plans for making still making like fighting game videos and stuff. It's just specifically like fighting game videos for 6-year-olds. Like
big things are coming.
Exactly. All right, kid. Down, forward, punch.
Dude, I would totally watch that, and you have like a little league tournament where you have like 10 6-year-olds like gathered into one room, and you like make them go head to head.
I'm telling you, dude. Look at Zorine. I've seen Star Wars. Okay, I know how you train a fucking Jedi. Okay, I mean, wouldn't that make me the strongest Jedi / Sith Lord in the galaxy if I could just train literally like an army of like killers?
Yeah, I bet there'd be parents out there who are willing to pay for you to coach their kids.
I'm telling you. Well, first off, it wouldn't be the first time, but I'm telling you, dude. Like, people are like, for people wondering where the money is in esports, I think that part of the money in esports is in Little League esports, like essentially like esports for young people, right? Because think about it, when you're a parent, especially, I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, you're a little bit younger, but like a lot of people I know are like getting married, having kids, or have already had kids, and the kids are, playing games, And the reality is, like, for a lot of people, do you want your kid to, like, be the one that everybody makes fun of? Or do you want your kid to be the one that has the most amount of wins, the most amount of pull, the most amount of choices, the most amount of potential to make you a proud parent? You know, I mean, which do you want? And, you know, although just because you might have played fighting games yourself and I'm just using fighting games as an example because I know this happens. But just because you played fighting games yourself, you play Street Fighter, you watch Street Fighter, you play ranked, whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can, you know, train your kid to be effective and win, you know, whatever the local, you know, little league tournament is, you know, or to beat the kid that's been like bullying him. I mean, dude, like that stuff happens, you know. Like I definitely wish if I definitely have encountered, like, as a kid, you know, bullies at the arcade, and for sure, if I could have just beat their asses, like, you know, what were they gonna do? Nothing. They were gonna do shit. So I think that the potential is there for young people, esports, because the parents are the ones that have the money for this type of thing. In the same way that that parents, you know, I mean, this is just, you know, in North America, right? Different parts of the country, different economic situations. But here in America, like many parents throughout the ages have paid for organized sports for their kids. Music teachers, guitar teachers, you know, acting classes, ballet, all kinds of stuff. Well, what would make this any different if it's what your kid is, like, really into? You know, there's a lot of parents out there that are just like, yeah, all right, cool. Let's make something out of it, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure it's already, you know, happening.
It's happening for sure.
There might even be kids out there being like, Mom, I don't want to go to fighting game practice today.
Right, exactly. No, you're gonna play MK11 because that's where the money is at. God damn it! I like Tekken. I don't care what you like, young man. You could play your Tekken after you complete your MK11 trials.
God. Yes. Oh my God, please.
I mean, they're
if there
definitely...
is a parent who's watching or listening to this show and you are that parent, please reach out to us. I would love to hear your story.
There is definitely... I'm not going to say who. You might already know, but I don't feel like it's my place to put anybody's, like, personal business out there. But there is definitely somebody who had a father who was very good at a specific fighting game, and he would beat this player who then became a well-known, you know, fighting game very strong player, you know, and now he's one of the best. But as a child, he was like beaten if he lost, you know.
Oh, I thought when you said beat, I thought you meant like beat him in the game, but you meant like physically.
No, like physically, yeah.
Damn, that is pretty intense.
Yeah,
that's next level. Wow.
Yeah, you know. So don't take that approach. That's not what we are encouraging at all. I'm just saying that happens.
That's serious business.
So, you know, it would be better to, you know, just make videos for 6-year-olds. Here, kid, watch this. Just follow along.
Coach to, you know, train them to be the best.
Just follow along. But yeah, I forgot why we started talking about that.
I think we were kind of just like talking about next generation and yeah, like the future, I guess, future generations. I have no idea how we got there though, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Anyways, Excellent Adventures is done. So.
Thank you all for being a part of the journey.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, dude, it was so much fun. I mean, a lot of people also reached out, responded to the email, and, you know, shared really, you know, some personal stories about how the show had helped them through tough times, and, you know, definitely appreciate being able to, have an impact on people like that, and and help in some way like that. So that's really cool to hear. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a great time. I had a lot of good laughs, a lot of fun memories with all the homies, including yourself, right? Yeah, you on there.
Yeah, I was on there. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was it was fun. I mean, yeah, good times.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
Thanks for the trip down memory. Yeah, now gootecks is all in his feelings.
See, I mean, this is why I just try to think about how this can potentially help our viewers, not anything involving me.
No, I think like you said, the show did help a lot of people, and there were some cool moments that happened, and we all can learn about the part that Excellent Adventures took. So that's awesome, and really grateful that it happened.
Yeah, it was fun. Fun times.
All right. Well, I think that wraps our show for tonight. As always, we appreciate your company tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thanks everybody for watching. Where can people go for more Zorine?
I am on the Twitters making some inane tweets every now and then. I'm just at Zorine. That's at Z-O-R-I-N-E. I almost forgot how to spell my name. At Z-O-R-I-N-E. I'm on Instagram, on Twitch. I stream every week, and on YouTube, Team Zorine. You can find me there.
When's the next one?
Thursday. I don't know why I looked at my watch, but Thursday. I stream. I stream
5
every
minutes
Thursday
late.
night.
Gotta go, Ryan. Cool, awesome, and yeah, keep us updated on the videos of your Zorine interviews. Zorine.
It's gonna be great. Can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Follow me on
Thanks,
the Instagrams and the Twitters at gootecks. Follow us here or hit the like button to get notified when we're live again. And thanks to Slasher for nothing.
Slasher ghosted us.
Oh god, super ghosted. All right, thanks for watching. Later, bye.
Thanks everyone. Bye.